I am so excited to have Sam Anthony on the show again. I love this guy. He has yournews.com. It is the future of media, and it is a way to bypass legacy media. You get local news, national news, world news all in one place. And it's contributors, people like me, broadcasters, journalists who have basically watch their business erode down to nothing, to where there's just they don't want anything or from anybody. Everything's all mainstream down to just one location and one staff putting out information for you. They're deciding what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, what you're going to read based on their political leanings. And I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. I've been sick of it for a long time. I've been in the media my entire life. I know exactly how they lie. I know exactly how they coerce, how they shape society their way. And they're big on that. Something like 97% of people in the media, all forms of media, are on the left. Well, yournews.com is presenting a different way. Find your people to get information from who are already out there. And that's what we've been doing our entire lives. But the very business that we love, that we've been in, doesn't want people like us. People who tell you things that the media loves to ignore and hide from you. It's lying by omission. That's what they do. So that's what Sam and I talk about a lot, is the media. But one thing we're going to talk about today is this.
A scientist placed 4 monkeys in a room with a stepladder upon which there was a bunch of bananas. Whenever a monkey went to climb the ladder, the other monkeys in the room were sprayed with cold water. After a while, each time a monkey went for the bananas, the others would attack it to prevent it from doing so. The monkeys learnt to never climb the ladder. But then, one of the monkeys was removed, and a new monkey wearing a raincoat was introduced. Naturally, this monkey went for the bananas, and it was customarily attacked and prevented from doing so by the others. This new monkey learnt not to climb the ladder. So when another monkey was substituted in and made for the bananas, all the others attacked it, including the one in the raincoat, despite the fact that it had never been sprayed with cold water. A third monkey was substituted in, and then a fourth final monkey. And still, whenever a monkey tried to climb the ladder, the others would prevent it from doing so, even though none of them had ever been sprayed with the cold water. When asked why this was, one monkey said, "That's just the way it is."
A party for making that little hypothetical experiment there. It is Sam Anthony from yournews.com. First of all, the one thing that I think is the biggest takeaway from that experiment is apparently monkeys can talk, and I would think that that's probably the bigger news. But that's a brilliant way to explain how it's a collective. It's a collective mind where everybody does it. There's two things I hate hearing. One is that's just the way it is. The other one is that's the way we've always done it. I hate that when I ask questions and that's the explanation I get. I go right into, nope, I'm going to come up with a better way. I'm going to come up with a different way because I hate that answer. But those in the media are big into complying and falling right in line, aren't they? Hello, Sam. How are you?
Charlie, great to be here. Great little video clip. I was going to ask you, where the hell did you get that? But I saw it was Phil. What was his name? Hardy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's a great explanation of exactly how we think. Anytime it's or tradition, that's another one too. Well, we've always done it that way. It's just tradition. Well, why? Well, how did that start? Who decided? That's all man-based, especially when it comes to religion. That's man-based. That's not from God. But I see that so much in the business that I've always loved. When I worked for ABC Radio and Television in San Francisco, um, there was an unspoken uh, this is the way we've always done it. I swear, the only Republican in the entire three-story building. It's like I was the token conservative, and they were really big on, we tell stories and news this way, and here's how you put in opinion in the form of news. Here's how you shape words. Here's the hot words that you use to elicit emotion and to get and action. And it's all opinion. It boils down to nothing but opinion, not news, Sam, not actual news.
Completely, completely. And you saw the map of the United States, all the counties, over 3,000 red counties to just a couple, 200-300 of the blue counties. The people have had enough. By the way, I would like to see what happened if they introduced a gorilla in with the monkeys. I bet you the gorilla would have ate all the bananas.
Right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's what Trump is. He's the gorilla that's been dropped into the tank, who's going to say, yeah, no, we're going to go this way, period. And once you see that, here's the reason why we're being controlled, you're all part of some kind of an experiment to get an ultimate goal. Hopefully you'll wake up and you'll realize, yeah, we need to have some drastic major changes. I'm hearing that the IRS is on the chopping block. Have you heard that? The FBI on the chopping block. Gone.
I would say, well, first of all, are they going to continue with the tax code, or are we going to have to fill out paperwork, which is just freaking, archaic? I mean, it shouldn't even be there anymore. There's some more efficient ways to, bring in what they call revenue, tax dollars, without having billions of dollars being spent. I mean, everybody's been around long enough to have heard of the consumption tax, which is the most logical way. Which would completely eliminate, us having to pay federal income tax, because they know what the GDP is. They know what you spend. All they do is take away the food. You're eating food and maybe even gasoline or any other different verticals they want to get rid of, but you get taxed on all the rest. And now, instead of having just 1% of the population participate in taxes, it goes to 100%.
Well, yeah, because anybody who has to buy something, unless they're paying cash and it's under the table, and that's what those extra 87,000 IRS agents, who are armed, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, I hope Kash Patel does get to take over the FBI, and I hope that the IRS is used in ways to solidify our border. Send those IRS agents down to the border. You already got guns. Go down there. Protect our border.
No, I agree. The IRS definitely needs to go. There's way too many of them. There's no need for them. This country has, I think the biggest thing with government is keep everything status quo. We don't want to upset the apple cart. Let's just keep spending this money until nobody has any more. But what they're doing is, with all the government people working, you saw all the news where most of the government doesn't even come to work anymore. They have buildings that are empty. They have no idea if they're even working.
Something like 87% of the workforce.
I want you to think that through for a minute. But we still got to pay for the buildings. You still got to pay for everything else. But these people, you don't even know what they're doing. They're just collecting massive paychecks, and they're probably not doing much work at all, little to nothing. It's kind of a shame. But this is what everybody's fed up with, Charlie. This is what you're fed up with. This is what your audience is fed up with. Look at that map where you have all the red counties. What that tells me is people are saying, we've had enough. We don't want it anymore. Nobody's going to change this on their own. Somebody needs to do it. So, when I hear people say, yeah, but Donald Trump, I'm like, look, nobody said he was Jesus Christ. Okay. If you want somebody to go in and clean house and beat the living hell out of everybody, you don't put a tranny in the house. Okay. You bring Mike Tyson in. Okay. He'll take care of the whole thing. Don't even worry about it. So you have to put the proper person in to get the job done that needs to be done. My biggest beef about Donald Trump is he's turned more into a politician where he's very careful about his words because he doesn't want to upset anybody. Now, here's what I'm hoping. Once he becomes president, gets sworn in, I hope he pisses off everybody. Okay. Because I would just say, look, I really don't give a rat's ass. I can't be president again, nor do I even want to. And quite frankly, I'm doing this for all of you. And if you don't like what I'm doing, get the F out. That's it. We're done. So that, I mean, that's how we should really treat them. And I'm primarily talking about the media, who ask some of the dumbest freaking questions. I mean, they attack him on things that make logical sense of why he's doing it, and they're making it out to be like he's some kind of tyrant for doing it. So, this is where, ball bats and pool cues always come into play, because it kind of changes the dynamics of the conversation. I'm like you and your audience. I'm so over it. I don't even want the conversation. I don't know how this man can continue to have these conversations. Stupidity. Okay. When I'm trying to fix something because we're spending trillions of dollars that we shouldn't be spending, and you're sitting here questioning the way I'm doing it, what the hell is wrong with you? You should be telling me you need to kill everybody, shoot them, get rid of all of them. Okay. I'm sorry. I mean, everything I'm doing benefits you, but you're fighting me for it. Quite frankly, I had enough. To me, I wouldn't even allow the media to even come in anymore. Just alternative news. You guys are irrelevant. Here's how I know you're irrelevant. You lost. You lost. You lost. You didn't win the election. You were pumping one guy or one woman, and it didn't work. So therefore, since nobody's listening to you, we're done. Bye. And that's it. And move on and bring people that could ask real questions.
Well, Obama himself said elections have consequences.
They sure do.
You're right.
Man,
they sure do.
And we saw 4 years.
We saw 4 years of those consequences. And thank God enough of us woke up to say, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want this. They're so hell-bent on starting World War III. That is so completely obvious to me now. Biden is doing everything he can. We've just pledged another, $1 billion to Ukraine again. We're sending them drones. We're sending them all this equipment. We are supplying all of their weaponry to fight a nuclear power of Russia. And we don't think there's going to be consequences of us supplying all those weapons to this country and all this money. How much, by the way, is Zelensky, the president, the king, since he canceled the elections of Ukraine? How much is he worth now? Do you know?
So the answer, because we talked about this, is I don't know if this is factual. I read it, and somebody needs to do some investigative work into this. But we talked about he was a comedian in Ukraine. Somehow he runs for president. He gets in. Maybe we propped it up, whatever the case may be. And so I read somewhere where he has a net worth now. Now, he's been in less than Trump, right? I mean, so in other words, it would be 7 years. I think he came in after Trump, or even if it's 8, it doesn't matter. He's worth $1.2 billion. Okay. He has a $35 million house in Florida. He has 5 or 6 houses, a plane, God knows how many cars. I mean, when you're worth that kind of money, it doesn't matter. And it's all stuffed in offshore accounts. So my guess would be, if it's accurate, then money we're shifting there gets shifted to offshore accounts. That offshore corporation then buys a house in Florida. I mean, it's just standard money laundering, and he doesn't have to worry about getting
exactly. I mean, that's certainly not his salary he's getting, I'm sure.
No, that was $11 million a year. $11 million a year. For a broke country that doesn't have any money, he gets paid $11 million a year. I don't know what to tell you. I read the article. If I'm wrong, it was 12. But it was, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So this little country who has a GDP that's probably less than Iowa, is somehow this guy's making $11 million a year to run it, on top of the $1.2 billion he amassed, with probably not paying any taxes. Okay, so there you go. It's all money laundering. So hopefully we could get to the bottom of all this stuff.
Well, there's billions that are missing. Nobody can explain what happened to it or where it is. And what do you think Trump is going to do with all of that?
Are we talking about the money that nobody can account for? Well, first of all, he's going to shut everything down. So you're not going to have any money spent anywhere. I'm certain, him and Putin are going to get together and figure something out. I was him. I would say, listen, Ukraine is yours. You own it. Take the damn thing. But we want $100 billion in oil out of there. Okay. Yeah, let's turn it into a business. We're now selling the money laundering scheme that they got. But, I'm a dick. So, I just have no mercy. Once I've had enough, now it's like, this what you wanted? You get it. Here you go. You could have it. I think they should be part of Russia anyway. Now, he won't do that. He's going to do everything on the up and up. But, I would basically sell Ukraine for what it cost us plus additional money. So I would turn it into a business. Here you go. It has to happen, but we'll see what he does. He'll shut everything down. That's what he's going to do. And then they're going to try and figure out how to get to the bottom of it. The question is, can you get to the bottom of it? In other words, when money gets wired to Ukraine, where does it go from there? Who's doing it? How do you trace it? How do you find all that stuff? Now, I'm sure there's people that maybe know how to do it, but I don't think the people that are profiting are going to turn themselves in. So, so I think you're pretty screwed there. But we'll, if there's a will, there's a way. We'll find out. For now, let's focus on the U.S. And, here's the other thing I'm really hopeful for. So as I understand it, the Federal Reserve is an illegal regime. According to the Constitution, and you probably know it better than me, I've heard Ron Paul say it many times, the U.S. should only coin its own money, but instead they sold it off to foreign banks who are now doing it. And I was listening to, who's the guy from El Salvador that won El Salvador? Do you remember his name?
Mahia. No.
I don't remember, but he did an interview with Tucker, and he was telling you how he cleaned it up. And it used to be the most unsafe place in in Central America or South America, wherever the hell it is. And now it's the safest place in the Western Hemisphere because the guy arrested 87,000 freaking people that were all part of the gangs and put them in jail. Didn't ask questions, just put them all in jail, right? That's it. You're done.
I have a feeling he probably didn't put them all in jail. He probably took them to the Mexico-U.S. border and said, walk that way.
I doubt it.
That's why a lot of the countries are all of a sudden their crime statistics have plummeted because they've released all their prisoners at the border and sent them across to our side.
Could be.
That's real. That's really happened.
Well, that guy was speaking at CPAC, and he said the United States has one of the largest taxes in the world. Okay, one of the largest, and he said, you know how much of your money your tax dollars go to fund the government? Zero. He said, what happens is the government is printing money, constantly keeps printing. The Federal Reserve prints it. And then with the government is funded through the treasury notes. So the Federal Reserve prints all the money, and then they buy the treasury notes, okay, from themselves, which now fund the government. He says it's a complete house of cards. It will fall unless it gets fixed. It's just one big circle jerk is all it is. So we're now paying interest, and they're buying the stuff because nobody else wants it out in the free world, right? Out in the world. They don't want to buy our treasury notes. So it's us funding us, and it's a Ponzi scheme. And that's how they're working it. So really, we shouldn't be charged anything in taxes. What were you going to say?
Right.
It's disgusting. Okay. And so, where this is going to go, how they're going to fix this. I mean, I can assure you, I've heard Ron Paul say many times that, all this money we owe is all interest. We don't owe it. We should not pay it back. And I got to tell you, I agree. So knock on wood, I don't want to shake the desk here and have me moving all over the place, but let's just hope Trump thinks the same way, because I think Ron Paul's going to be an advisor on this. And if you all of a sudden could just wipe out $37 trillion in interest, well, now we're debt-free. We've lost 90% of the government workers. We're operating at a massive profit. Let's give it all back to the people. Oh my God.
That would sure put a hurt on China, wouldn't it? Because most of that money that we've borrowed, especially during Obama's reign of terror, was from China.
Well, I'm not saying don't pay people back if you're borrowing it, but when it comes to the Federal Reserve and all the interest that's accrued, you just don't pay the interest back. You can pay the people back that loaned you money. I mean, but
yeah, we've paid you enough interest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then let's look to figure out another currency to get the hell off of this. So, that's where all this Bitcoin and all this stuff. Mark Fincham called me yesterday, and he said he's part of some company. I'll tell you what it is. don't know if he's part of it, but it's called Digital Gold. And so the website's digitalgold.com. Digital Gold is a Bitcoin reimagined where you are the bank and DGD is your global currency. So what he explained to me is Bitcoin is the commodity. So it's like a piece of gold, but you can't go in and buy milk with a piece of gold. So you have to cash that Bitcoin in for another currency, whether it's cash or something else, to be able to buy it. He said, this is the stuff you cash into that you could purchase with. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So eventually it'll be like an Apple Pay, you just go and do it.
The thing that bothers me about that is there's no real something you can hold in your hand like gold or silver. So it's only worth as much as they say it's worth. And as in real estate, everything's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. That's what bothers me about the whole digital currency thing. There's really no tangible thing that you can hold and go, yeah, this is mine and I can use it. It's got value because there was some work put into it.
I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that, and I'm not saying you don't buy gold, but you can keep your gold as a hedge. But look at the currency you currently have. Your dollar bill is worth what, 2 cents? Okay, because you have these idiots that have been printing money forever and just devaluing your currency, and eventually, as far as I'm concerned, 2 cents is worthless. So the dollar you have is worthless. You could have 1 billion of them, and it's worth $2,000. It's like a joke. So it all needs to change, and that's what we all voted for, was change. And let's hope we get it. And on another note, and by the way, do you have any more questions on that?
No, I love what we're talking about. This is fantastic. I
wish I was sitting in the room with you. We could be drinking beers and talking about this stuff, right? I know it's morning there, but it's 1:30 here.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that sometime in the future. I'll come out to Florida, man. We'll just hang out. We'll do a show while we're at a bar. I think that'd be awesome.
I think it's a great idea. I'm excited because, as you know, we're doing an equity crowdfund. So, figuring that piece out just took a little bit of time, but it's going freaking phenomenal. Okay. The next step is we're going to amp this up. I've never been more confident in my life. The focus that we're going after, which I don't know if I told you the last time, but now I'm in it, is student journalists. Did I mention that the last time? So, no. Okay. So let me tell you why. If you go on LinkedIn Navigator, you type in freelance journalists, there's almost 500,000 people that are calling themselves freelance. Freelance are basically the people that are part of the downsizing of the legacy media that are now looking for work, which we had this conversation. I read an article, and 97% of them vote Democrat. So I'm like, the hell am I going to invite those people over here for? Okay. Hey, let's take the problem and move it back to my platform so we can continue the problem. Right. Forget it. So what I thought was there's 170,000 student journalists. I could show you. I'd pull it up. So 170 is the number. Charlie, you've been in the media business way longer than me. Okay. I mean, you've worked in it. I don't work in it. I just, sit on the periphery. You really think they're going to get a job when they get out of school?
No.
Okay. Would you say they're screwed?
Yeah.
Okay. They're not screwed. And I'm going to tell you why. Because number one, these are young minds. They're passionate about journalism. Okay. They were not part of the problem. They could be molded. And I don't mean politically where, nobody, when you're 21, 22, 23 years old, you could say whatever you want, but until you got a kid, a mortgage, and you're paying taxes and shit starts to make a difference. Okay. Then you're going to decide what political side of the aisle you're on. But until then, it's just all rhetoric. It's bullshit. It's basically your friend said it. So these kids could be molded. Now, I have 3 people on my content advisory board. One is Ann Vandersteel. I have Wendy Bell, and a new one, which I have to put up, is Sean from the SGT report. Sean is a journalism major. Okay. Journalism. Sean has an audience on Rumble. Some of the shows that I do with him get 150. The highest was 175,000 people. Okay. So he's got reach. And then he showed me a list of all the mainstream media people. He's in the hunt. Anytime somebody's getting close to 200,000 people watching. Remember when the big players used to get millions? They don't anymore. Now they're in the 1 to 300,000 range. He's right in the mix with all of them.
Which is why MSNBC is for sale.
Well, yes. And
for that very reason.
I don't even know why somebody would buy it, but, it's like, hey, we got cancer. We're going out of business. Can we get $4 billion for it? No, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that Elon's going to buy that or not. If he did, you're not going to beat Fox. Okay. You're not going to all of a sudden switch the audience and all the Fox people are going to come. It's not going to happen. Because the Fox people are the Fox people. The MSNBC people are all going to leave, and they're probably going to go to CNN and make them bigger. So it's kind of a waste of time. Now, if it was packaged with other things and these other entities were worth 10 billion and he was buying it all for 5, you just throw this away. And then you now work with these, but you don't need that anymore. Okay. So it doesn't make logical sense to me that he would buy it, but I'm not Elon Musk, and it's none of my business what he does. That's why I always say, Newsmax and Real America's Voice, aren't they really the same thing as Fox News? I mean, they're on apps though, but so is Fox News. So those entities are never going to survive. It's just the way it is. And I'm saying that because it's an antiquated, outdated product. So this, the platform, a platform is going to be what replaces the legacy media. But going back to these students could be molded. They could be taught the proper way to do things because they're a sponge. They're not set in their ways. So you know how James O'Keefe is hiring people or bringing them on to be investigative journalists, and he's training them how to do it? We're going to be doing the same thing very soon. Like within the next 8 weeks, I'm going to have my first class. Now, Sam's not going to do it because, I'm not qualified to do it. But we bring on people that are qualified. We send an email to all the journalists that are, on the platform where they could log in, and now they could start learning what other people are doing and ask questions and be taught how to do it properly. You like that idea?
Mm-hmm.
This is like James O'Keefe's thing on steroids. So at the end of the day, I don't want to sway how anybody ever votes. That's not the issue here. The issue here is keep your damn opinion out of it. Do the job properly, or you're going to piss people off and they're never going to watch or listen to your show, or read your stuff, listen to your show again, and you're not going to make any money. So you have to craft the content to the audience, if you will.
That just happened with Newsmax. One of their hosts, I know his last name is Kelly. I forget his first name. I don't really watch Newsmax. Greg Kelly went off on Pete Hegseth and his potential appointment to run the Department of Defense. This guy on Newsmax is just like railing on Hegseth, and he's saying all the things that the left is saying. He's just parroting it, and people are really getting angry about this on Newsmax. Why would he do that, do you think?
Well, he sleeps around a lot. Maybe he nailed his wife. I don't know. It's certainly possible. I mean,
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, maybe that's it.
I don't have any idea why he would do it. Maybe he knows him personally, but no matter what somebody does in their personal life has nothing to do with whether they get a job done or not. It's just the way it is, but for some reason, this is where Newsmax is no different than Fox. It's the same damn thing. This shit ain't going to survive. It's just an outdated, antiquated product. And, when he's going after him now, Greg Kelly, is that more of an opinion show anyway?
Yeah.
So obviously, if he's going after him, he does not like him. I think it's personal. It has to be personal. He just wants somebody else in there. Maybe he thinks there's somebody better. But if you're attacking somebody for no reason, something's wrong with you. I mean,
a lot of times they do that. And I know this to be true. You'll take a contrary position to what the majority of people who are watching you think, merely to get attention, merely to boost your ratings, because any publicity is good publicity, even if it's negative. And I'll bet Greg Kelly has more people watching now than less, because
liberals. You don't do that with political conservatives or liberals, because if you're not tailoring your content to the audience and what they like, they're going to leave. I'm sorry. If you're actually saying stuff that I don't believe in, I'm out of here. Now, if you're telling me something factual, like, here's what he did. Here's other stuff he's run. All these companies are out of business. Form your own conclusion. I'd be like, okay, maybe he's right. But not when you're just going after somebody as like a witch hunt for no apparent reason, just because this is what you think. I really don't really give a rat's ass what you think. So, and also all the people that are listening to that can be conservatives. So why would you do it? And I understand what you're saying. I think if you're going to go after somebody, you shouldn't really go after him. You should just take the other side and say, well, what if, he's ran 3 companies and they failed. So why could he do this? It remains to be seen, but now he's not insulting. He's just pointing out facts. So I don't think it's going to help him at all. I really don't think it matters. I don't think Newsmax is going to survive either. I don't think any of them
are. They went public too.
I know they
public traded.
What the hell does that have to do with anything? There's public companies that go out of business all the time.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, that just sets you up for a hostile takeover, as far as I'm concerned. But let's have a little hypothetical discussion because I'm quite convinced that the left is going to pull out all the stops to make sure that Donald Trump never sits behind that Oval Office desk again. If you mire him down right out of the gate with a World War III busting out all over, if you mire him down with a whole bunch of not just a COVID kind of virus, but they are talking about a whole bunch of stuff now that's going to, the bird flu and all these different kind of things that they're going to try and get people to wear masks again, be afraid again. And, those are just 2 things. Hypothetically, what can you think that they're going to do to try and keep him from taking office?
The only thing I see is they need to execute him. That's the only way to do it. He's getting in. Nobody cares. 90% of the country wants this change. 90%. If I'm wrong, it's 87. You saw the map. Okay. It's not 50-50. Everybody that says that is full of it. It's not 50-50. It's people are tired of it. They want change. This guy's getting in and he's going to make changes. So unless you bring better shooters than you've had, because those guys suck. Okay. So you better bring in better shooters that actually hit a target. Now if the guy was aiming for his ear, he's good. Okay. He's really good, but the head's so much bigger. So you need better shooters to take them out. But if that doesn't happen, and then I wonder what'll happen if they do.
I do too.
I mean, it's people are fed up. I mean, that's the reason that this change is actually going to happen. Now he needs to do what he says he's going to do. And the people that are going to try and block him, he just needs to call them out, and say, here's the people blocking this. Here's the reason why. Get rid of them. That's it. Just be mean, brutal, because it doesn't matter anymore. He's not getting in again. Okay. So, call things for the way they are. The media has lost all credibility. So they're basically irrelevant. We talked about this. I wouldn't even allow them in the press conference rooms. We don't even need you anymore. Nobody's listening anyway. Okay. Joe Rogan is bigger than all 3 networks combined. Okay. Combined per show. Joe's invited here. We don't need anybody else. Think about it. Okay. So that's what the internet is, World Wide Web versus a self-contained, network, which you have to tune into. So I'm confident that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. I do believe it. You have to. And I think he's certainly going to go all in to fix this thing. The question is, does he have enough time? And who's going to be like, Mitch McConnell? Who are the people that are going to be blocking him? Okay.
Those are the most dangerous of the rhinos right now. Those are the most dangerous.
And, you look at them and you're like, well, sometimes I look at my watch. I'm like, was he have 3 more minutes left before he dies? I mean, like, how long do you have to stay in office and be irrelevant and keep sucking on the tit of the American people? So, I don't really care because I'm never running for political office, but these people need to die. I mean, that's how people come in office. They come in office and then they don't retire. They just croak.
Dianne Feinstein out here in California is a fine example of that.
Exactly. I mean, why are you still there? Haven't you ripped us off enough? Go enjoy your lives.
Why did John Garamendi, who's just been on the public take his entire life, just a slug of a Democrat, and he just won re-election again in the Bay Area. He's 79, and he was diagnosed earlier this year with a rare blood cancer, and he just won. He was up against a very good conservative, very strong Republican, and the Bay Area rejected that, and they put John Garamendi back in again.
So do you believe it, or do you think that it's just all whipped cream on horse shit?
I don't know, but I was stunned by it. My own fellow Californians, even I don't claim the Bay Area. I used to live and work there many years, but good heavens, what a waste! What a wasteland it has become. But we're just so controlled by these major population groups: San Francisco, Los Angeles, Sodom and Gomorrah, Sacramento, also, and they're deciding how the rest of us have to live, and they're doing it successfully just because they're huge population base. There's a group called New California. Paul Preston, I've had on the show more than once, has an idea of how we can literally cut the state and say, okay, you know what, you liberal freaks, you go ahead, as he calls them, pus pockets, you go ahead and keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to be New California. And it's got traction. It's making inroads. What are the chances of something like that in a state like California, the fifth largest economy in the world?
That's a really good question. I don't know the legalities behind that, but man, it would be nice if you could secede from California and start your own state.
Wouldn't it?
I think, well, because now you don't have to deal with their crap. You don't have to be part of it. So exactly. I think the odds on that happening are pretty much zero. Simply because why would, Gavin allow that? He's not going to allow you to do it. I mean, it's, he makes money off of you guys. I think really, that state is so infected, like New York, that I think you just need to completely cut off any federal funds for them and say, operate until you're out of business and let everybody leave who's going to leave. You keep all the illegals and everything you want there, but you won't have any money to give them because eventually you'll take it all. And then Gavin eventually will fly off and just go to another country because he'll have stolen everything. And then you step back in and you change everything around. So I don't see it happening.
As California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. If, and I should say when, this state financially collapses, it will affect the rest of the country. And that's why I think that Trump is going to be put in a very precarious position of they're too big to fail. We can't let California fail. We have to keep bailing them out. But by being bailed out, they get to continue saying, oh, look, we're doing fine. We're doing just fine. Of course, it's none of your efforts other
Charlie,
than
that's all lies.
It is all lies. It's
all lies. It's not too big to fail. It needs to come down so that people can see it for what it is and then say, listen, nobody's going to fix it except your people. If your people want to go and you want us to step in and fix it, we'll fix it. But if that's not the case, let them run your lives or leave. Pick one. And then eventually 2/3, 3/4 of the population will leave California and there'll be nobody there but farm animals. And, it's just the nature of things, right? I mean, you bankrupt it, it won't affect the country. You'll still be able to get, the farmers, you still buy from the farmers. I mean, the farmers could sell directly to us. What's the difference? Okay. So
I hope you're right.
I'm always right. Didn't you ever see my website? It says know everything.
Hey, let's talk about your website and how it's doing and what the future is and how we can be involved, because I know that you're doing basically an initial public offering, right? A crowdfunding.
It's free. Yeah, we're doing equity crowdfund, and I'll probably do another one after. But I will tell you we've raised about 150,000 in 90 days. The next step is, now that I've realized how to do it, the marketplace loves it, Charlie. Okay, they love it. So like I talk to everybody, and everybody that bought stock in the company I have conversation with just to see if they have any questions. And I hear from them, and they're all MAGA. I'm just letting you know, there's not one person that's not MAGA. There's no liberals that go, keep going. You're doing a great job. So it's all MAGA people. And now what we need is just bigger reach and frequency, which I'm getting set up for. But now you got the Christmas time coming, the holidays and all that stuff. So things are starting to slow down. So for next year, it's going to be a big marketing campaign. But the marketing campaign is going to be for advertisers. It's going to be for, because I'm setting it up to where we have buttons where you could just buy very inexpensive targeted ads on a monthly basis. It's because if you're doing that, you're supporting local journalism, right? I'm going to be marketing to all the students. I'm going to amp that up. So I'm spending very little bit of money and I'm bringing on these news reporters. If I spend a lot more, I'd bring on a lot more. I could bring on thousands of them. And then the equity crowd fund we're going to be marketing to, because this is really simple. It's basically Facebook meets YouTube, and it's all about content. Once you've aggregated all the content, the game's over. You got all the readers. So it's the users, like I think it was you that said it. The younger generation understands the internet. They know how the internet works. They all have social media followings, but they can't throw a baseball. Okay, so because
they can't drive a manual transmission.
Yes,
they can't even tell the time on an analog clock. But so but you're right. When it comes to the internet, they got it dialed.
Yeah,
hey,
and they're
Sam, I'm gonna have to do something for everyone who's watching live right now on Facebook and YouTube. My apologies in advance. Please stay with me. I just got notification though that my computer is about to quit, so I've got to transfer power. So I'm going to, and when I put this on the Rumble channel, rumble.com/DoNotTalk, I'll of course edit all this out. But I'm going to have to change my power source. Can you hang on a quick second?
Sure. I stay right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Hi, Juliana.
Oh, Juliana's on. Good. Let me do that right now. Sing to them. There we go.
Is it open? He left Cujo sitting right there.
That's
Puppy.
Spike.
Hi, Spike.
Good boy. Thank you for that. My apologies. So I'll give myself what they call a scene clap. And this is the edit in 3, 2, 1. How do we buy in? How do we get in? How do we help? How do we be involved with yournews.com and the growth of it?
Well, we have an equity crowd fund. You can make an investment as little as $200 and anywhere in between. I have to share another thing with you because I have a list of influencers. I've already talked to 3. When I get off with you, I'll be talking to more people that have big reach. One guy I just talked to had 3 million followers on Instagram. They're all MAGA people. So what I'm getting geared up for is next year, I'm going to pick and choose who I want to work with. And I'm going to let them people start pushing it out to millions, for the equity crowdfund thing. So this is going to amp up real quick. Then I'll do another one. And I was worried of this one. I'm not worried about the 75 million. I was a little worried about because, it's kind of a lot of money. It's 15 times the 5 million because we're doing 5. That's 15 times that. But not anymore. Now the reach that I have, with these influencers, as we start onboarding them more, I figure we need a minimum of 10 million in reach. And then you basically just get 0.5% of those people to buy, and you got more than enough investors. 0.5%. On another note, I spoke with General Flynn the other day. I think it was Thursday or Friday. Thursday, probably, maybe Friday. I don't remember. I'll be talking to him on Wednesday because I told him what I'm doing. And I told him I wanted to be part of it. So, we'll see what kind of time he can commit to it. So, I've got some big things that are working, but at the end of the day, it's kind of all irrelevant. The real issue is the user base. You want to bring in all these news reporters. So while one entity is dying, you basically just want to come up underneath. Let me move this over here and ultimately just replace them. And that's the game.
What's the address? Where do we find it?
Oh, for our investment? I'll send you the link, but it's It's you go to yournews.com and just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see a button that says invest. Just click that. It takes you to this thing called Issuance Express. We don't own it. It's owned by North Capital Partners. And, from there, you got to fill out a form. And, if you want to make an investment, you can pay with a credit card, $200 and up. And my interest at this point, Charlie, is I want to disperse this to literally tens of thousands of people. So, the $200, which is always important just because you want money, it's more important to have the shareholders, because I'm doing this and I'm telling you, I could get it done through institutions. Everybody would be aggravated with me because BlackRock and Vanguard would own our company. But I'm doing it because I really believe that we, the people, should own the next mainstream media. And ultimately, what I do will become the next mainstream media. There's no question. The question is, will it be our platform or somebody else's that doesn't exist? I would bet against that all day long. And don't bet against me. You will lose.
Yeah, you got a great head start.
Oh, God. I'm already doing it.
The blanket pardons that Biden is doing, before I let you go, just give me your thoughts on that. Hunter has already been pardoned for anything and everything going back like 11 years. For things that we've been told repeatedly over and over again, he didn't do them. And there was no such thing as a laptop, but he's being pardoned for them. Now there's talk that Fauci is going to be pardoned, and all these different people, and we're all freaking out. We're going, this is insane. This is horrible. What's happening? He's getting all of his buddies to where justice cannot be served. But there's one thing that is still viable, and that's the military code of justice, where they can be brought up on treasonous charges despite what pardons have happened from the current thing.
So the American people want justice. The American people want justice.
Sure do.
And all we get is nothing more than the same thing all the time. Government is always trying to, paint a picture of how they're trying to help you, and nothing they say makes sense. And now you've got somebody like Joe Biden who's committed all these crimes, and he has committed crimes. Give me a break. I mean, the Biden crime family, that's what they're known as. He's the big guy. They made literally millions of dollars off the American people. Now they're laundering money through Ukraine, and somewhere it's going to some account. And now all the people that committed these crimes, I'm going to pardon them. My response would be, I have to try and keep it down a little bit because I get mad. I'm only hoping that Trump does something military because, honestly, I wouldn't care. I would send the military to grab them by their hair. I would drag them across the street. Make sure you park the truck 2 blocks down. I want nobody to be walking, okay? And I want videos covering everything. We're done with you, okay? And then
I want to see perp walks. I want to see perp walks. I want to see them walking. But handcuffed and shackled, and like they did to Roger Stone and other great patriots.
Exactly. Like them. Bring it to Guantanamo Bay, where we torture them for years and get all kinds of information. I'm sorry, is that wrong? Am I saying? So, by the way, don't vote for me for president because I ain't running. So I don't care. It doesn't matter. And you could cancel culture me, but I have no social media, so it don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm basically irrelevant.
Hey, that's the last thing you are is irrelevant. Yournews.com. Start getting your information from actual reporters and broadcasters who, this is our passion, this is our life, and now we have a platform. And oh, by the way, to my fellow broadcasters, Sam shares. He monetizes what you submit based on how many views you get from what you submit. He will share advertising dollars with you.
That's the future of media, Charlie. I mean, give me a break. It's all going to monetization. The younger generation understands it. This is how YouTube works, Rumble works, Facebook works, X works. Give me a break. It's all monetization.
Facebook doesn't work for us. I had my monetization canceled. I was making some pretty good money. And they canceled my monetization. They still kept my page. They still kept my tens of thousands of viewers, but no, they don't share any advertising dollars with me now.
No, but I mean, that's people make money off monetization. So no, if you're a conservative, those platforms aren't going to work for you. All that stuff's going to be fixed. I can assure you of that. You'll be able to be on Facebook simply because by the time, if they open them up to lawsuits, I'd be even shocked if they even stayed in business over the next 10 years. I think it'd just bury them. How much money do you think you lost by not being on Facebook and X and YouTube?
I'm on X, but YouTube, I've lost thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars.
No, hundreds of millions. And when the lawsuit comes up, it should be, punitive damages. I want $1 billion because I'm going to tell you right now, what the hell's the difference, right? Okay. Did you lose any loved ones because they couldn't get the proper information and they died? Yes.
Yeah, actually.
Grandma died and I want $1 billion for her life. I mean, my point is you're going to get all kinds of lawsuits coming out of work. It'll be class action lawsuits. If Trump opens it up to where they're liable, they're screwed. They will not win. They will fight it for years, but ultimately their $2 trillion market cap is going to go down to a freaking $500 million. And at some point in time, they got to cut a deal and they got to get rid of all those people and put in probably Musk will buy them and he'll load them all, right? So it'll be like the perfect opportunity to pounce.
Musk owns the world soon. But you mentioned earlier, too, that Elon Musk, I forget exactly how you put it, but in other words, it doesn't affect you what Elon Musk does. But I disagree because since he's been appointed, and it'll be interesting to see how that happens and how it all comes together, because it's basically just another government entity being created to patrol and police other government entities. But this DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy running it, is brilliant. Brilliant.
It is. I'm quite certain, I don't know how long it took him to basically 80% of Twitter and make it run more efficiently. A year did it take him? So, I would think the government's a little bigger. I don't think they have 12,000 employees. I think they have like, 500,000. So, it's a lot more work that needs to get done. But maybe they could expedite it and, get things to where things are running properly. It's a shame that we have to come to this, that it really takes us. And the comical part is if you eliminate all the waste, everybody's tax dollars are going to drop. You could cut taxes, which means all the liberal media is going to benefit from this, but yet they're still going to be telling you how much this is going to hurt you. This is the bad part. It blows me away, Charlie. I mean, this is where my tolerance levels are now at 0 because it's all lies. We don't even want to hear you anymore. So I can't wait till I get big enough to where I've got a microphone so big that I could be a dick, because I'm going to be. It's just the way it's going to work. I really don't care. I just don't have to worry about ever being elected to anything because I have no interest in that. But you got to call things out the way they are. And people only understand consequences. That's it. If there's no consequences, this is why. And I think Megyn Kelly says it all the time. You have to, turnaround is fair play. You have to go after these people legally, because if you don't, they're going to continue to do it. They have to understand the consequences. So when it comes to Google, Facebook, YouTube, all the censorship that happened, if you just let it go, they're never going to stop. But if you do it legally and you bankrupt them, they're going to go, maybe that was not a good idea.
I think you're fantastic. I always love talking to you and look forward to it. I get Sam on at least once a month. Sam Anthony from yournews.com. And thank you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you very much. And I also appreciate patriots like Mike Lindell. Christmas time, are you like me? You have no idea what to do and what to buy, and you suck at it. It's all online and it's all available and waiting for you right now. And he's got great prices too. And they're all made in the United States of America, which is the most important thing to me. He had all of his products pulled off the shelves of the big box stores. Screw those big corporations. Go to mypillow.com/Lee. That will take you right to the page that has the even special offers on the page. But then you can go to the regular page too, mypillow.com, use my middle name as a promo code and save up to 75% off. And it's Christmas time. They've got great specials, great prices, great products. over 100 products now at his online store. So please do that. And you can have these gifts mailed directly to the people you want to give to. I got a few down in SoCal I got to get online and buy for. And you can even custom a message. Merry Christmas. I'm sorry. Season's greetings. Happy holidays. I'm a Merry Christmas guy because that's what the holiday is. Jesus is the reason for the season. So go to mypillow.com/Lee, mypillow.com/Lee. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, though, America, bless God.